my friends. We have finally done it. Oh, there's Jezebel. And there's X688 over there too. Hancock. But we have finally 100%ed the game, guys. We did it. Thank you, everyone, for all your help. I appreciate it. Now get back to work.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nearly Nikki, and let's talk about Fallout 4. Now, Fallout 4 is a game that I love. It is probably one of the first RPGs that I actually played besides Skyrim, and at first I wasn't sure how to feel about it. Now, as you guys probably saw in my last video, the literally hour-long film, I know, it was so fun to make and edit, but basically in that film, I talk about the conclusion of my nearly 3.5-year journey in Fallout 4. It was actually my 5th playthrough, funny enough, so originally I wanted to make the occasion special, and I thought to myself, I've never completed 100% completed a game before. This was a lie because I realized later that I had completed Destiny 2 in the background. Oops. But with Fallout 4, it was just one of those games that I instantly fell in love with from the moment I first entered the Wasteland. So with this playthrough in particular, my goal was to not only finish the main story and all the DLCs once again, but also to finish those miscellaneous tasks and quests that you see in the Xbox achievements. There are a total of 84 achievements, and as of April 19th, I finished all of them. Oh boy, where to even begin with some of these achievements. Some of the achievements in Fallout 4 range from very innocuous and not really focusing on anything. I'm talking about You Benevolent Leader and Nukacade, to being story-driven. I'm going to say this out front now. A lot of the story-driven trophies I had already completed on previous runs of the game, including getting the 4 different endings, which include Minutemen, Railroad, Brotherhood of Steel, and the Institute. So in this video, I'm going to highlight my full journey in Fallout 4 from 2022 all the way to 2025, where I completed my 100% run, which included picking up all of the extraneous Xbox achievements. If you like Fallout 4 as much as I do, please be sure to like and subscribe for more gaming-related content, as well as anything else that I like to put out. A lot of you know the main story of Fallout 4 by now. Basically, you start as either a male or female protagonist, the Vault Dweller, or the Lone Wanderer in some cases, and you end up going to Vault 111. So then you wake up about 200 years later in the Wasteland, all by yourself, once the bombs have fallen. One of the big plot points in the game is that your spouse is murdered by an unknown assailant, and your baby, Sean, has been kidnapped. These details will be important for later. So the main story is that you, as the Lone Wanderer, are going over the Commonwealth, which is set place in Boston, Massachusetts, and your goal is to find your son, Sean, and live your life together in this weird new apocalyptic wasteland. Along the way, you meet a bunch of characters that are ranging from eccentric to just downright deranged. Also, you have the 2 DLCs. One, you have Far Harbor, which takes place in Maine, and then you have Nuka World, which I'm not sure exactly the location of Nuka World, but I like to call it Coked Out Disneyland. And it's up to you to befriend or not with these individuals and help you find your baby. At the end of the game, you have a choice between several different endings. From the very beginning, I swore to myself that I would not go through an evil playthrough. I have gone through an evil playthrough before, but this was different. I wanted to go through either the Minutemen ending or the Railroad ending, which are the good endings. But ultimately, I ended up having to choose the Institute ending, one of the evil endings. Ultimately because one of my internal goals that I made for myself with this playthrough is that I would romance every single companion in the game. Now, there are 16 companions throughout Fallout 4, and only a handful of them are romanceable. However, 14 of those 16 have actual perks. One of them, you actually have to level up one of your characteristic stats in order to get their quote-unquote achievement. The other one doesn't really have an achievement. So that leaves you about 14 perks that you can get with the other companions. Some of them throughout my findings have been very helpful, and others have been, well, kind of useless. There are plenty of other videos talking about which perks are best, but honestly, in my opinion, the majority of them are pretty good. Throughout the base game, as well as the 2 DLCs, I made it my personal mission to trudge across the Commonwealth and collect every single bobblehead and every single magazine imaginable. Now, as for the total number of bobbleheads that we collected was 20, and then the total number of magazines we collected was 135. This includes all of the creator pack magazines that we purchased as well. So it was really cool just to trudge across the Commonwealth and search for these. Some of them were kind of a pain, but ultimately it worked out for the best. Here you can see the bobbleheads displayed on a decorative podium, which I am especially proud of. Look at how cute they're lined up. I also am very proud of my magazines, and I also mentioned in my film that I would like a reading chair for this room. Wouldn't it be awesome to have a reading chair surrounded by comics? I want to move on to the main reason I wanted to make this second video. So I had my first video basically concluding the epic that was my Fallout 4 journey. But during my journey, I collected some souvenirs, you would say. And I wanted to put them in a display piece where I would be able to see them and see the accomplishments that I had done throughout the run. So I decided to make a museum of the pieces that I collected. I only displayed the legendary weapons and legendary items, so anything that had a star next to the name, I kept that. One of my favorite legendary items was this really cool hammer that I got from the Children of Adam. This hammer is awesome because it does a lot of radiation damage. It obviously doesn't help against the Children of Adam because they're probably immune to radiation, but it definitely did a lot of damage on other enemies in the Commonwealth. So this was a great hammer. It was fun to play with. It was fun to mess around with. I loved it. One of the outfits that I really liked was the Mags outfit from Nuka World. Mags is one of the leaders of one of the gangs called the Operators, and she has this really cool top that looks like a bunch of bullets stretched across her chest. So I really like to display that piece. Some of the other costumes that I really liked were this one right here, which is the Minutemen General uniform. And then I also liked the Nuka Girl outfit, which even though I never wore, I love the display of it and how it looks. So those are some of my favorite items and favorite clothing pieces in the game. One of the other things I would like to mention is that I did keep my very first outfit from the very beginning of the game before the bombs fell. So I preserved that, and then I wore this beautiful red dress that the lady at the club in Good Neighbor wears. And yes, you do get to seduce her. It's kind of fun. I would also like to point out that not only did I have my museums set up in the Sanctuary Hills settlement, I also had a smaller museum collection down in the Home Plate house in Diamond City. You can get this house when you have enough funds, and you can talk to Mayor McDonough and his secretary up at the top of Diamond City in order to unlock this house. It's a really neat little storage area, and this is kind of a place that I needed to go to if I needed to store extra supplies or whatnot. And this is also where I stored one of my power suits, one of my many power suits. A grand total of power armor suits that I collected throughout the game was 27. That is a lot of power armor. These are found in all 3 of the worlds. So they are in the Commonwealth, they are in Far Harbor, and they are in Nuka World. So 27 power suits, or power armor sets. It's a grand collection. I am so proud of it. There were 3 different sets of power armor that I loved. One of the first sets was the set that you can unlock at the Galaxy Zone display. One of the underlying fetch quests that you have to do is you have to collect 35 of these starports, and they're kind of annoying if you don't know where they are, but they're kind of lit up so you can easily spot them in most places. And once you collect all 35, as I have done here, you will get to rock this totally awesome and another one of my favorite power suits. Now, it's a beautiful blue, and I love the blue tones in the power armor. So it's a pretty sweet reward, and I highly recommend that you do unlock it because it is awesome. If not for the utility use of it, then just for a decorative collection piece. The second one was the Enclave set, and then the final set that I listed as my top 3 is the Nuka World set. This set can be seen and unlocked at the bottling plant in Nuka World. It's hidden behind a gated door in the bottling plant itself. So it's really cool, but all 3 of these pieces are very well displayed. Honorable mention for favorite power armor is the Paladin armor set from the Brotherhood of Steel. Another honorable mention for power armor is this Tesla coil set. It literally has these lightning coils that light up, and it's really awesome. Very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. As I mentioned before, one of the big parts of Fallout 4 is meeting your companions along the way. As I mentioned probably throughout my stream, I have a tier of top 3 companions that I would like to point out here. So my number 3 pick for companion is probably going to be Paladin Danse. Now hear me out. I know this is a controversial choice for some. Paladin Danse is the Brotherhood of Steel member that you meet at one point at the very beginning of the game, and he starts the Brotherhood of Steel questline. Later on in the story, you find out that Paladin Danse, who is a part of this organization that despises synths, he is actually a synth himself. And so basically at the end of the questline, you either have to choose to murder Paladin Danse for the Brotherhood and advance up to Paladin, or you can choose to save him and keep it a secret from the Brotherhood, or you can hide him and you can retreat and be on his side and betray the Brotherhood. So with this follower, Paladin Danse has a lot of layers. Even though he is a synth, he definitely has a lot more depth than some of the other companions, even though he does kind of have a resting bitch face at times. But he's charming, he's sweet. Once he opens up a little bit more, then he's better. So that's kind of why I like Paladin Danse. It's my number 3 choice. My number 2 choice was actually one that I recently fell in love with, and that is John Hancock. Again, controversial choice, but hear me out. Hancock, at first, I wasn't sure how to feel because, he's a ghoul. He's very rough around the edges, very, bad boy kind of nature, but also has a good heart. He is, of course, a ghoul who is, I guess, brothers with McDonough, which I just connected the dots on that, but okay. And Hancock is, but once you get to know Hancock, he is a charming gentleman, or charming ghoul, and he, of course, rocks that trifold hat and that coat so well. But Hancock is sweet, and Hancock is very, he gives you compliments, he sweet talks you, of course, very charming, very smooth person, or ghoul. So Hancock comes from a really hard background. He comes from a very rough life, but ultimately, once you befriend him and get to know him a little more, then he opens up and becomes a lot more of a softie. Also, it was really fun to get his perk because I literally had to do like the naughtiest thing possible. You gotta go check out the film if you want to know what that was. Also, I have to go back to Hancock for a second. He kind of gives me the same vibe as the ghoul character from the Fallout series. So, I just wanted to point that out with those comparisons. It's just really awesome. So, my number 1 pick is McCready. If you have watched my streams, you are not surprised to find out that this is my number 1 choice. McCready is very charming. He is very suave, but he is also one of those people, like, if I imagine it, he's like Han Solo, but in the wasteland environment. He, of course, was known in Fallout 3, which I'm still playing too. But McCready is one of those people that you just instantly fall in love with no matter where you come from. His story quest for his mission, like his personal quest, is heartbreaking, while at the same time also kind of personally fulfilling. Not only just for McCready, who gets answers and conclusions to his story, but also for you, because you are in a very similar kind of storyline of, different spouses and family and kind of just being torn between choices and fighting for your family's survival. So that's the main reason why I like McCready. McCready is also, of course, very suave. I do like his outfit, but throughout the latter half of my playthrough, I decided to switch him into a suit, which was definitely the right choice. I'm going to have to give the honorable mention to Kate. Kate's storyline is not only heartbreaking as well, but also very satisfying, and you kind of are with her along this heartbreaking journey where she is a recovering drug addict. From the very first moment you're with her, it's like you want to protect her, but she's able to protect herself. She is a no-nonsense fighter. She knows what she wants, and she goes after it. And honestly, I respect that in the highest of capacities. I have to give another honorable mention. I'm sorry. Curie. Curie is adorable. You first meet her in Vault 81 when she is a robot. Her storyline is very intriguing, and I love how deeply layered it is, and it kind of makes you question the concept of feelings and emotion and what it means to be human. Curie starts out as a robot, but then you go back to Dr. Amari in Good Neighbor, and you give her the chance to become a synth, because she wants to be, human, but synths are obviously the closest thing you can get to being a human without actually being a human, because she was a robot. So Curie's story and her development and her emotional core is just so heartwarming to see. So she is also an honorable mention, as well as Kate. Both of them have their perks and their quirks, and I appreciate them both for it. Okay, so now I have to tell you who my least favorite companion is. I think from my personal perspective, I think Porter Gage has got to be my absolute worst companion. Honestly, I couldn't relate to Porter Gage's sympathies or his story at all. Sure, his upbringing was tough and he had to fight his way into the Raider gangs, but you're literally fighting them throughout the entire base game. The Raiders are not your friends, they're the bad guys. And then you literally are expected to join their ranks for achievement trophies and get Commonwealth villages ransacked for Raiders. No, I just didn't like that. So here are my final thoughts about Fallout 4. I love this game. The story, the richness of the environment, the glitches. Just kidding. The glitches are funny, but sometimes they're a pain in the butt. I just love the richness of this game, and I love the companions and the friends that you make along the way. I love the satisfaction at the end when you resolve your story, and I love the overall leveling up system and the fact that you get to basically go wherever you want. I've discovered things organically in this playthrough that I never thought I would be able to see. I think one of my favorite achievements that I got was this. It's a really random achievement, but it's called mass production. Basically, you have to build a conveyor belt and you have to make 100 items. It can be any item you want, but 100 items. And it's just one of those passive ones that you can do in the background. So I don't know why it just brought me so much joy to see the items dispensed, because I had never done that before. Fallout 4 definitely tested the abilities of mine to, think and figure out which companions I want to get in which certain order. So, for example, I got all the ones that I wanted first, and then in the later part of the game, I had to go with the ones that I wasn't a fan of. Here's looking at you, Porter Gage, and X688, and Strong. But those were the last 3 companions that I had to get before finalizing the game. And with Fallout 4, you had to strategically think which characters made the most sense for which scenarios and which quest lines that you were going to do. Additionally, I played Fallout 4 for this run. I played prior to and after the release of the Fallout TV series that came out last year, and First of all, I love that series. Such a good show. Can't wait for season 2. And the fact that there were several quests that were added after the patch for the TV show. So it was really cool to see how they integrated that into the game, even though the game is like over 10 years old at this point. They integrated several quest lines into the game. One of my favorite new missions that they added, and one of my new favorite items that they added, was actually one of my top 3 power armor sets, the Enclave armor set. The Enclave, as you know, was referenced in the Fallout TV show as well as the Fallout universe in general. So it was cool to see how they kind of meshed the two together in a not so intrusive way. So that is just about going to wrap up this video. Thank you all so much again for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out and chat a little bit about a decades-old game by now. Again, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to check out more content. I'm hoping to put out more gaming-related content in the future. I know I said I was going to try and 100% Fallout New Vegas before Season 2 comes out of the TV series. However, I don't think at this point in time that's going to be possible. If I can at least complete the game, that would be a miracle in itself. But my next 100% journey that I'm going to be talking about is Baldur's Gate 3. So get ready to dive into that, because that has also taken me years to conceptualize and come to fruition. And boy, oh boy, do I have some stories to tell you. But once again, thank you for checking out the Fallout 4 series. Thank you to everybody who had ever checked out a stream or whoever has checked out my channel. Thank you again for watching, and please stand by.
Well, folks, it is time to sign off one last time on Fallout 4. Thank you all again so much for playing with me and for giving me this amazing chance to stream this for over 3 years. I cannot believe that we're finally done. I cannot believe we got the final achievement and we got everything completed that we needed to. Story, quest lines, everything. No stone left unturned. All the companions are done. Oh, he just disappeared. All the companions are done. The magazines are found. Bobbleheads are done. Xbox achievements completed. Everything is done. So, again, thank you all so much for tuning into my journey and for tagging along with me. And as they like to say in Fallout 4, please stand by for the next game of excitement.